Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go fast. I've got the blank. I don't have a bingo. I can sort this rack out by playing Ida. For 10 points. Great, I have textile and a choice of places to play it at the moment. Above Ida, beginning above the I works. And also in row I, placing the X underneath the first E. So my opponent is likely to play around Ida, so those options may change. Now, do I have an alternative bingo? I'm just mentally running through the alphabet in my mind. Okay, let me see what's available. Now, I do have textile at I1, so I am bingoing. Do I have it anywhere else? OI doesn't take anything in front of it. AD takes nothing after it that I've got. Okay, so I am limited to the I1 placement, unless there's an alternative bingo. Now let me briefly consider the two-letter sets. What about OI? Can't see anything through that. Or AD. TE is a possibility. I've got the tele prefix. I'm going to play textile. For 75 points. Quite a balanced rack, but the VU combination is not good. The G also doesn't go well with the U and the V, but at least there's the I and N to go with it. Now, do I have a bingo here? I don't think I do. I'm looking at ING words and also words beginning UN. And I'm looking at the floaters in textile. Virtuing, not good. Okay. Well, what about reviewing? Well, that's not good either. Now, certainly a play of VUG or GOV would sort this rack out. Nowhere great for either of those, although I could play GOV and TEG in row I. Now, what about playing a double-double in column 5, a non-bingo double-double? It could end ING. Now, what about reviewing without the second E? Not sure about that. I need to briefly consider the two-letter sets created by my opponent in case I have an 8. Can't see anything through AT or PE or EX. Now, my opponent has provided a nice spot for VUG. 28 points. I would get a lot more than that if I could find a double-double in column 5. But I'm not confident about reviewing. Well, what about reeving? I'm sure that's good. How much that would keep GU? It would keep U, rather. What would it score? 44 points. So 16 more points. Actually, I'm going to go with Vug. I like this rack leave 16 points more than I like a solitary U. Well, that hasn't worked out too good. I've drawn 3 vowels and I have no scoring tiles. But I do have a decent lead. Now I'm going to struggle to sort this rack out and score, and even sorting it out isn't going to be easy. Eine is good, E-I-N-E. But if I play that in row I underneath TE, I'll be setting up the triple word square at H15. What about a play in column 5 onto the G, or even through G and I, perhaps a double-double? Can't see anything there. Well, nothing great. I mean, I could play well, I was going to say G-R-E-I-M, but even that doesn't work. Now, my opponent has not really provided anything. MI takes nothing in front. Gamp doesn't take anything I've got after it. So should I change? I've got a 40-point lead. I'm just looking at the scoring tiles on the board to see if I can use any of them to boost my score. Now, O-N-I-E is good. So what about a play in row E, making E-Gad? Is there a 5-letter play here? Well, there is. There's Eerie. Is there a play which doesn't use up all 3 E's? Eerie's certainly better than changing. Well, there could well be, but I can't see it. Quite a lot of the E's will now have been played. Well, Irone is good, but I'd rather have a vowel and a consonant than 2 vowels. So Eerie for 16. I draw another E. There are 4 E's unseen. Cluey is playable here at D1. That's one of the new additions to our official word list. That would certainly sort the rack out, although it would burn the E. Maybe there's a shorter play I can make which retains the E. I'd like to play off the Y and the U as a bare minimum. I'm looking in column 11 to see if I've got anything down onto MY. I can't see anything. I could play Yup in column 12. 16 points. And my opponent has taken my Cluey spot. I could play Cluey above double E. And maybe I should. The Y would get doubled. 20 points. That's tempting. I think I will do that. C-E-L-O-N, which is the leave I would have had if I'd played Yup, isn't that great. There are 1 blank and 4 S's out there, so I'd quite like to turn over more tiles to get 1 or more of those. Cluey, 20. I don't get any of those tiles I've mentioned, but I do draw the Z. The rack as a whole is pretty awful. It's going to take me a few moves to sort this out. And I'm only 40 points in front. Zoom and Mozo are good, so I could play Mozo in row B, making me and Oi for about 40 points. Where else can my Z play? Well, I could play Zoo at E1, but I'd like to play off at least one of CM and V. Great. Only 13 points for my opponent. What a beautiful sight that is. So, what I'm thinking of is Mozo across here. It opens up two hotspots, A15 and A8, which is better than opening up just one. 44 points is a good score. And my opponent cannot score off my Z. Great, I draw the second blank. And I must be close to a bingo. I'm wondering about, well, I was thinking about vacants, but that's only one N and two C's, so that doesn't work. Is there a bingo here? I've got cave in row 1, if that stays available, but that is keeping two N's. I'm just mentally running through the alphabet to see if anything jumps out at me. Vengeance through the right two letter sets. Well, that's not available. Still haven't seen anything. Close to caveman. The double N isn't really helping. At least my opponent is taking a little while over his moves this go. Okay, 45 points, that's good for him. Has he given me any opportunities? Do I have anything beginning with the R? I don't think so. Now, through an O or a T, I would have Covenant. Nothing available. Okay, I don't think I do have a bingo here. But what's good is that A8 is available, and that was part of the reason for playing Mozo, that I was creating two hotspots and one of them would come to me. So I can play Knave. I'm just wondering if I've got a play which places the N over this Y. I don't think Cave N is good. I don't think Vance is good. It's certainly going to be annoying if I've missed a bingo here. I'm close to Connive. Close to Convene. And I've got the Eye of Kaffir for plays beginning in... Well, this scores 36 points and I'm retaining the blank, which is worth 25. So this is a 50 or 60 point play, and I'm denying my opponent this opportunity. So if I have Mr. Bingo, it won't be as expensive as some other Mr. Bingos. Through an A, I would have Chan Fron. Or through an N. Not a great rack because of only one vowel. In fact, there aren't a great number of vowels left, only two E's, so I may struggle to get a bingo down. I do have a 50-point lead. In terms of 7-letter bingos, I really just need to consider the blank as a vowel. And I can't see one, so how to sort this rack out. Although I've only got 1-0, if I keep it, I risk duplicating it. Now, what about playing in row D underneath 1? Can I get one of my high-scoring tiles underneath the O and another on this double letter square? I've got 11 minutes left, 27 tiles in the bag. Well, what I could do is play phone or foe. 2 ends left. Now, do I play the N as well? The N has some synergy with the C. Playing the N would get me 4 extra points. I think that's worth it. Now, can I do better than 34 points? And I quite like playing the N here. My opponent is unlikely to bingo in column 15. Anything other than a bingo is going to, or even a bingo, is going to open up column 14 as a bingo lane. And I've got row K as a bingo lane. So, phone for 34. I think that's the best I can do. Although I could play Roch in the same spot. Well, I don't want to keep the F because the F is a non-bingo-y tile. Not great, but I do at least have 1 blank. This might be the story of the rest of the game, having just the 1 vowel, not the 1 blank. Now, wow, through the H of phone, I would have chortler, but it's obstructed by 1. Only 21 points for my opponent, which is good. So I'm maintaining a 50 or 60 point lead over him. 9 minutes left. I'm looking at AT in column 1 to see if I've got a bingo through that. Can't see one. Now, how can I sort this rack out? I would have a bingo through a U or an A with torcular. Well, this is quite tricky. I could play crit in column 3. That doesn't give too much away. Only 14 points. I'd like to get at least 20. And I'd like to play off an L and an R. The R because it's duplicated, the L because it lacks synergy with the R. I'm looking at column 8 to see if I've got something beginning with the I of Inia coming down onto the triple word square. I can't see anything. Now my T can go after Vex. I could play in column 1 if Lorat was good. I can't see anything coming down from the N. 8 minutes left. I could play talk and at. Again, only 14 points. I think I'll hang on to my O because of the vowel shortage. And if I play up here, I'm not providing anything easy for my opponent. Well, I'm glad I retained my vowel since I drew only consonants. This is a grim rack. At least I have a lead. 7 minutes left. 16 tiles in the bag. Now, I probably will have to play off my vowel here. I'm looking at hold and AH. Am I missing a better spot? I think I do need to play off 4 tiles. This sorts the rack out. 21 points. Ooh, not good at all. And the remaining tiles are now looking bingo-y, and I've only got a 70-point lead. And I may struggle to burn the queue. Ah, well, I can play cat at G1. That stays available. My opponent doesn't bingo, and he blocks a bingo lane. Is cat the best I can do? Using my blank as a U, I would have squeg. So I could play squeg and holds. I don't think that's best. I could play squeg and gamps. $35 points. So 35 points. Well, a blank. I think I'll keep the blank. Cat for 12. So I'm giving up 23 points, but the blank's worth about 23 or 25. I have grassed, which plays in column 13. I can't see anything through the N of phone. My opponent gets 81 points and takes a 10-point lead. There's one tile in the bag. Do I have a bingo? I've got 6 minutes left. My grassed spot has been taken. Oboist doesn't take anything after it. I've got the floating S, but that needs to be combined with 2 S's on my rack. So I've got digress. Well, this is tricky. I'm 10 points behind. There's one tile in the bag. What to do? Now, maybe there's a play in... Aha. Yes. Fantastic. Back of the net stuff. Grassed 86. Superb. Well, my opponent's got quite a nice set of tiles. Well, there could be something through the S. But anyway, that's his business. If he doesn't bingo, well, if he does bingo, he wins, I think. Well, maybe not. I'm 76 points ahead. So I think a bingo through the S probably wouldn't be enough. He'd need one through the N of phone. But I can't influence what he plays now. What I can do is look for somewhere to play my A. And with one tile, it's easiest to scan the board row by row. So I have Fano, I think, in column 13 for 7. HA through the H of phone for 5. BA in row H. I have DA and AT for 10. Aha is available. Okay, so DA and AT is the best I've seen. And I have a slight doubt about Fano. But I think I would play it if it was the only bingo available. Now, my opponent's lost contact or quit. So I'll wait to see if he comes back. He does not come back, so the game is adjudicated in my favour. The final score, 320 to my opponent, 396 to me. A winning margin of 76 points. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go fast. And Ida looks like it was the play, or E-Day. My opponent's rack, he played OT, and this was my textile rack, and that was the only playable bingo. My opponent's rack, he played ape. And now this was the double-double I was thinking about, reaving, keeping you. I played Vug for 16 fewer points, but with a much better rack leave. And even if Reaving simulates slightly better than Vug, I still have a preference for the good rack leave because a good rack leave is much more manageable and easier to find a good move next go. My opponent's rack, he played Gamp, and now I had a lot of vowels. Toia, I didn't see that, but it's only 12 points. That's not a particularly good move, providing all those floaters. I played Eerie for 16, and that looks fine. My opponent's rack, he played Jibe. Now, Enjoy, I didn't see that down through the J of Jibe, keeping CLU. Instead, I played Cluey for 20, keeping ON. Well, Enjoy would have been better. My opponent's rack, Awful. He plays Inia. And now, this was my rack. I played Mozo for 44. Oh, well, I could have held back the O, and I should have done, because if I'd played just Moz, my opponent wouldn't have had access to A15. But more importantly, the O would have helped my rack leave. Yeah, if I'd played Moz, although it's stopping my opponent having access to A15, it's pretty much giving him A8. So it's providing one hotspot instead of two. So Mozo does have advantages over Moz. But I'm not sure which is best. My opponent plays Kafir. Now, what did I miss here? Well, not a lot. I could have played Vac, retaining 2 ends and scoring 47 points. Instead, I played... Wow, did I play Knave or Vane? I did. And I could have retained the E, played Van for 3 more points. Well, that is remiss. Now, my opponent's rack, he played 1. And that would have been important. Retaining an E at that point would definitely have helped my succeeding rack. Anyway, I was faced with this rack, and phone looks best. My opponent's rack, he played Jaw. And now I'm struggling with a shortage of vowels. And crit looks like it was fine. My opponent's rack, he played TI, and this was my rack. You can see by the scores that there was very little on offer, and I played Hold for 21, and I think that's fine. My opponent's rack, does he have anything? No. Well, not a bingo. And here I was agonising between Cat and Squeg, neither of which shows up here. Ah, well, Cat does at G1, and also at E1. I hadn't spotted that. Squeg is not being shown, but wow. Would Squeg have been the right play? Because it would have placed a vowel next to a double letter square, and it would have burnt the blank, so I think on balance Cat was best. Now, great play by my opponent. Oboists brought him right back into the game, gave him a 10-point lead. This was my rack, and fortunately I did have a playable bingo, which took me a while to spot, but Grast and Grost both playable right here. And this was the point at which my opponent left. What could he have done? Well, nothing very much. He certainly didn't have a bingo, so he would have just played something, and then I would have played my A somewhere else. So overall, pretty interesting game, and quite a close game. My opponent taking the lead right towards the end, and I was fortunate in having a playable bingo on a very blocked board. A couple of errors, certainly the Knave play instead of Van, and possibly Mozo instead of Moz. And a play which wasn't a mistake, but which was quite an interesting play, was the Cat one versus Squeg. Squeg certainly having some merit in taking out bingo lanes. So overall, I thought that was quite a fun game to play, and quite a tense game going into the end, particularly when my opponent played oboists and I hadn't spotted that Grast played. So I hope you enjoyed watching that video and got something out of it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.